Best CPU for RTX 3060 in 2023. The RTX 3060 is one of the most popular NVIDIA 30 series graphics cards out there thanks to a good price-performance ratio if you can get it at MSRP. However, to get the most out of your RTX 3060 GPU, for more information I have links products in description, make sure you check it out. Like the video, comment, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get started. Number 1. AMD Ryzen 5 5600X. The Ryzen 5 5600X is becoming one of the top CPU choices for mid-range builds. Due to its excellent price-performance ratio, it's highly recommended to be used together with NVIDIA's RTX 3060. The 5600X is a 6-core processor that sits at 3.7 GHz base frequency but can be further boosted up to 4.6 GHz. That's an impressive amount of performance that can be squeezed out of such an affordable CPU. In combination with the RTX 3060, you won't have to worry about any kind of performance bottleneck or anything along those lines. However, don't expect the smoothest 4K gaming experience in most games because the RTX 3060 GPU isn't built for that, and it's not the CPU job to compensate. The 5600X boasts impressive architecture that is capable of achieving a 4.6 GHz frequency while demanding only 65 W from your power supply. This is good news for those of us who don't have a large PSU budget. Furthermore, the Zen 3 chip supports PCIe 4.0, making it perfectly compatible with the 3060. This means your system will reduce the data transfer rates in most games and applications, as well as the loading times. PCIe 4.0 is the future, and by combining the RTX 3060 with the 5600X CPU or any other Zen 3 processor, you'll make sure your new system won't become obsolete over the next few years. Number 2. AMD Ryzen 7 5800X. If the 5600X doesn't satisfy your multi-core processing needs, the Ryzen 7 5800X might be exactly what you're looking for. Its power requirements are surprisingly low with a TDP of 105 W, which is slightly higher than its smaller sibling, the 5600X. When it comes to its features, the 5800 is a future-proof processor that offers full PCIe 4.0 support. Since the RTX 3060 offers is also PCIe 4.0 compatible, all you need to do is make sure you have a motherboard that supports this feature and your system will be as efficient as possible for years to come. The 5800X on its own is a powerful CPU that offers more processing power than what most games require, and it's also a good choice for demanding software. In essence, the Ryzen 7 5800X is similar to the 5600X. The main difference is that it has 2 additional cores and 1 extra MB of cache memory. If you require higher multi-core processing power, the 5800X is a great choice, especially if you don't plan to make any upgrades to your system over the next few years. In other words, you can't go wrong by pairing the RTX 3060 with the Ryzen 7 5800X. Number 3. AMD Ryzen 7 3700X. Despite being one generation old, the Zen 2 line of processors is still relevant and even future-proof, especially when combined with an RTX 30 graphics card like the RTX 3060. The Ryzen 7 3700X is particularly impressive since it's the older counterpart of the 5800X. In a nutshell, the only real difference between the 3700X and the new 5800X is the frequency. The 3700X clocks in a base frequency of 3.6 GHz that can be boosted up to 4.4 GHz. We lose 200 MHz on the base frequency and 300 MHz on the boost frequency. As a result, the TDP is also lower as the 3700X requires only 65 W from the power supply. The 3700X remains a valid option for future-proof systems. If you're restricted by your budget and you don't require the slightly higher clock speeds you get from the Zen 3 processors, the Ryzen 7 3700X is a great choice in combination with the RTX 3060. The risk of a bottleneck is non-existent, so there's no need to worry about limiting your GPU by using an older processor that offers the same features as the next-gen counterpart. Number 4. Intel Core i7 10700K. While the Zen 3 line of processors from AMD is taking much of the spotlight nowadays, Intel still has a few excellent choices of CPU to go with the RTX 3060. The Intel Core i7 10700K is one of them. This 8-core processor has a base frequency of 3.8 GHz that can be increased to a whopping 5.10 GHz. High single-core processing power makes it ideal for gaming, and having 8 cores adds to its versatility and multitasking ability. However, that's where the benefits of using the 10700K end. The major drawback is that the 10700K doesn't support PCIe 4.0. If you purchase it now, you might not lose out on anything for another year, maybe 2. But if you're looking for a long-term solution, you might want to wait for Intel to release its next-gen line of processors or go with AMD instead. All in all, the Ryzen 10700K is a powerful processor. It blows most CPU out of the water when it comes to clock speeds. Therefore, if you're building a gaming system that can also multitask, the 10700K is still a good choice in combination with the RTX 3060. Number 5. Intel Core i5 10600K. If you're looking for a budget-friendly option from Intel, the i5 10600K might be the best option for you. Being a 6-core processor might not sound interesting, but this i5 offers impressive clock speeds. At a 4.1 GHz base frequency, this CPU will offer all the power you need for a gaming system built around the RTX 3060. If that's not enough, you can boost that frequency up to 4.8 GHz. Just make sure your power supply is good enough, because the power draw will increase with the frequency. Intel excels at providing CPU with strong single-core processing power, which is excellent for games in particular, as well as multi-core processing power, which is important for demanding applications and multitasking. Therefore, if you want to stick to Intel without spending a lot of money, the 10600K offers a hard-to-beat price-performance ratio. That being said, you need to keep in mind that this CPU doesn't offer PCIe 4.0 support. Therefore, your system won't be able to benefit from this feature despite the RTX 3060 supporting it. As a result, the 10600K is an excellent processor for the time being, but you might have to change it in the near future to benefit from the latest tech. Number 6. AMD Ryzen 5 3600X. If you're restricted by your budget and you're simply looking for a versatile system, the Ryzen 5 3600X might be precisely what you're looking for. Since the new line of Zen 3 processors is out, the old Zen 2 generation became more affordable. With 6 cores and a 4.4 GHz boost frequency, the 3600X offers a lot of performance per dollar. Furthermore, it's a future-proof processor, just like its 5600X counterpart, because it supports PCIe 4.0 and it's built using the same 7nm architecture. All in all, the 3600X is more than capable when paired with the RTX 3060. As long as you aren't working with extremely demanding software, this processor will be more than enough. However, the jump to the 5600X is fairly small. If you can spare an additional till to $50, you can invest in the Zen 3 CPU, which is more efficient and provides you with slightly higher clock speeds. Number 7. Intel Core i5 10400F. The i5 10400F is one of the most popular under $200 processors from Intel. It is a budget 6-core CPU that is good enough for light multitasking, as well as 1080p gaming when paired with a good GPU like the RTX 3060. Putting the low 2.90 GHz base frequency aside, the 10400F is a locked processor. That means that to achieve the 4.30 GHz boosted frequency, you need to adjust the base clock speed instead of using the base clock multiplier.